Welcome back, everybody. 9 minutes to the top of the hour. A study conducted by the South African Citizen Survey has revealed South Africans are primarily concerned about Eskom, the South African Revenue Service, or SARS, and the bleak reality of the unemployment crisis. They're expecting Finance Minister Tito Mboweni to address these issues during his medium-term budget speech tomorrow. According to the survey, the public's trust in Eskom and SARS declined in recent months. In addition, it also shows the Finance Minister's favourability is dropping. Joining us now from Cape Town is Reza Omar. He's a strategic research director at the Citizens Survey. Good to have you, Reza. Thanks so much for your time.
Good morning. Thank you.
So, as I alluded to in the introduction, your survey revealed that Eskom and SARS and the unemployment rate, which is really a very major concern for all of us, is what tops the list for citizens. Can you elaborate on this a little further for us?
That is correct. The fiscus is going to have a significant tax shortfall in this coming period. And what we've found was that trust in SARS, being on the decline after having reached a 12-month high, is likely to have an adverse effect on tax collections going forward. The unemployment rate is a big problem, and the sheer amount of money that is owed to Eskom by the South African state in order to bail out Eskom is having an adverse impact upon citizens' trust in the direction of the country.
So your data is also showing that there's a direct correlation between the resurgence of load shedding and the decline of trust on Eskom. It's obviously hardly surprising, but what would you say they need to do in order to reclaim faith?
Well, what we observed in February and March of this year, when Eskom load shedding occurred, was that trust in Eskom dropped from 55% at the beginning of the year, and at the period of load shedding it dropped all the way to 35%. What we saw from going into August was trust in Eskom dropped from 55% down to 45%. So citizens are losing trust in Eskom. And that is mainly because of the magnitude of the bailout. That is excluding the effect of the latest load shedding round.
Yeah. It's also a concern about the lack of trust from South Africans in SARS. And, this is what the government uses, the tax collection, tax revenue, to fuel most sectors of our economy and use that money. Now, when you see South Africans losing faith in SARS, this doesn't bode well at all for revenue collection. Talk to us about this. What is their concerns at the moment?
We are South Africans. Is withholding your taxes to SARS a legitimate form of protest? And what we found was that 64% of South Africans said those who do that, no, they are wrong and should be punished under the law. 23% said they sympathize with them. But 10% of South Africans said, I would do this if I had a chance. There's nothing wrong with them at all. Mm. When we compare this result to what we got at the beginning of 2018, in the beginning of 2018, only 4% of South Africans said, there's nothing wrong with them at all. I would do this if I had a chance. And it has more than doubled over the last 18 months. Citizens who do not trust SARS are far more likely to withhold their taxes.
Mm-hmm. I need to ask you, in terms of the survey, how many people are surveyed? Is it a good reflection? Is it a good reflection of South Africa and South Africans' beliefs?
This is a nationally representative sample that we do in the homes, face-to-face, with citizens around the country. The sample size is 1,300 a month, and the study has been running since 2015, and in total we've interviewed just over 64,000 South Africans in order to gauge their opinions about what is going on in South Africa.
All right, so that gives people an understanding of the findings, and so this leads me to the revealing the biggest problem that South Africans are feeling right now. You reveal that 78% of South African adults believe that out of every single issue in the country, it's unemployment that is the biggest problem, and we can see that. It doesn't matter where you look, you see people sitting around almost hopeless to a point of not knowing where to go for a job, what to do, and almost sort of even believing that it's not going to happen. Tell us about, what the research says about this unemployment rate and what people would like to see being done.
Well, as you said, unemployment is the most important problem facing South Africa. What we've observed is that in the last 3 months, the proportion of South Africans who said that unemployment is the most important issue grew by 5%. Now, nearly 29.5 million South Africans say that unemployment is the most important problem. The second most important problem is crime, and that grew by 10%, from 29% to 39% of South Africans, and the two are interlinked. In order for the minister to be able to hold the trust of South Africans, he has to speak about job opportunities and how jobs are going to be created. We understand that President Ramaphosa has been seeking international foreign direct investment, but the question South Africans are asking is, when is this going to happen? When are the jobs coming? Because at the moment, South Africans are getting poorer. We can see that on the VAT receipts that SARS is receiving. And it cannot go on indefinitely without the implications of a drop in the belief that the direction is heading in the right direction.
Yeah. So the crux of the matter is also as much as we looking towards leadership and we're looking for solutions, according to your data, our Finance Minister Tito Mboweni's favourability is also on the decline. When he was first announced, people were very excited about this, but it now appears that the popularity is not necessarily there. Tell us a bit about this.
That is correct. When we ask favourability, we ask citizens, South Africans, on a scale of 0 to 10, how favourable are you towards Minister Mboweni? And in June, 35% of South Africans were favourable towards Minister Mboweni. That dropped to 29%, and in August it dropped to 26%. This is concerning, as Minister Mboweni is the key person that has to keep the public informed about the state of the fiscus. Everybody in South Africa is a taxpayer, irrespective of how poor they are. Everybody pays VAT, everybody pays levies. Therefore, every South African taxpayer has a stake. And at the moment, what was promised, the more jobs, the foreign direct investment, has not yet materialized. And Minister Mboweni has to reassure South Africans that job creation is still on the agenda and it is coming soon.
Yeah, well, let's sort of wrap this up because we've got the midterm budget speech that's coming tomorrow. So it's a big moment for the Finance Minister and for the country in general, because this is going to give us a little bit of a glimpse into how things are going to be turned around, whether it be Eskom, whether it be the unemployment rate, or how we grow this economy, how we create jobs. So what are the hopes and expectations of South Africans ahead of tomorrow?
I believe there are a few things South Africans would definitely be expecting. The first one is Eskom. How much is it going to cost? When is it going to be fixed? The second is SARS. Can we restore that organization to what it was before? Steps are being taken in that direction. And probably the most important of all is, how is this economy going to be turned around? And how are jobs going to be created in that process?
All right, let's leave it there for this morning. Thanks so much for talking to us here on the program about this survey of South Africans. It's the South African Citizens Survey. That was Reza Omar, who is a strategic research director, and it's all about the results of their latest citizens survey about the midterm budget that's going to be delivered tomorrow by our Finance Minister Tito Mboweni. In fact, that's also the top story in our news bulletin, and I hand you over to Sakina, who has the details.